It is day 31, 10:17 a.m. in the Big Brother UK All-Stars house. And of course, all of our house guests in both the lab and the main house are waking up and getting ready for the day. Now, with the main house, they have a bunch of luxurious objects in their house, including a brand new stereo, beer pong table, a keg, anything that they can really start the party with, and all of them are immediately doing that as soon as they get out of bed. Isabelle is breaking it down in the middle of everyone. Meanwhile, Cameron is, of course, in the kitchen at his usual spot at the bar, already starting early in the morning with making himself a drink. However, this drink is invisible, weirdly, and I kept expecting it to, like, pop up at some point, but it never did. So I guess he has such an advanced bartending skill that now his drinks are invisible. Meanwhile, Nikki, Charlie, and Rylan are kind of just hanging out silently in the bedroom. Almost all of the other house guests are outside dancing by the stereo. Meanwhile, right next door, secretly, we have the lab. And the lab is just slowly getting ready for their day. We have a group of them in the bathroom, just doing some cleaning and mopping, as of course our toilets are always broken, while Allison jumps into our not-so-private shower. In the bedroom, we see that most of the house guests are still there, and for some reason, especially with the lab, almost solely the lab, all of the house guests in there are constantly just staring and looking around awkwardly, not doing too much. I don't know what that's about, but of course, Kim is cleaning up the kitchen. Duh. At 11:03 a.m., it is time to get down to business in the main house. Big Brother goes ahead and calls all of the house guests into the living room as it is once again time for nominations. All the same rules will apply, except since Davina is locked in room 101, she is not able to nominate or be nominated. However, everyone is still going to have to spend 5 big bucks in order to nominate. And thankfully, with Davina being the poorest house guest and her not being in here, everyone is able to afford nominations. And whoever receives the most votes will be nominated for eviction this week. All of it is, of course, based on your relationship statuses and who you like the least in the house. So first up to nominate is going to be Gemma. So, based on those relationship statuses, Gemma has nominated both Cameron and Makosi, giving them 1 point each. So, next up to the diary room to nominate is Emma, and she nominates both Craig and Nikki, giving them 1 point each. Now we have 4 people on the nomination board, all tied with 1 point. Of course, things are going to dramatically change as we go ahead and continue on with the vote, and Rylan is next into the diary room. So Rylan's 2 nominations are for Charlie and Nikki, giving Nikki her 2nd point and making her in the lead. However, next to vote is going to be Cameron. And Cameron's are for Makosi and Gemma Collins, making Makosi tied with Nikki with 2 points. All right, so next to come to the diary room and vote is Brian.
So no, ain't a preps too lane.
So Brian's votes are sadly for Charlie and Mikosi. He's, been steady on the two of them almost all series, and this vote pushes Mikosi into the lead. So next up to come to the diary room is Pete, because I accidentally skipped Isabelle, but we will get back to her.
Oh, Parasa. Yeah.
And Pete's vote is for, ironically, Isabelle, but also his next vote is for Mikosi, pushing her further on into the lead.
It's too late. Schmazzle. Oh,
Alright, so after skipping her, it is now Isabelle's turn to come to the diary room, and she decides to vote for Rylan, giving him his first vote, but also spending her next vote on Charlie.
No, Dimpa Yiddish.
And Charlie is next to come to the diary room and vote. However, she does not retaliate against Isabelle, and instead she decides to nominate both Pete and also adds another vote to Mikosi.
Oh.
So next to come to the diary room is Craig. Now, Craig's nominations, kind of like Pete's, are pretty interesting, as he is pretty close with a lot of the house guests romantically. However, he has nominated both Rylan and Emma. I guess he has a thing for host. Maybe if Davina was here, he would have nominated her too. Alright, so after Craig is finished up nominating, next to come to the diary room is Nikki. However, she has to make her way through all the house guests who are busy taking photos of Isabelle, who has now taken place of the house celebrity instead of Charlie. But Nikki has nominated both Mikosi and Charlie. I'm not too sure how Charlie went from being the house celebrity to now Isabelle being the house celebrity. Not too sure about that. But next to come and vote is Mikosi. And Mikosi nominates both Cameron and Charlie. And honestly, I think it is pretty good strategy for both of them to nominate each other, as they are receiving the most votes, and you definitely want to be wanting your vote to count towards something instead of just some random house guest who hasn't received that many. Alright, so we only have one more house guest to nominate, and that is Nadia. And she decides to vote for Charlie, of course, almost everyone has. And her second vote is for Nikki. Alright, so once Nadia takes a seat, we can confirm, based on everyone's nominations, that there are 3 people facing the public vote. And that is Nikki, Charlie, and Mikosi. However, this week we have a twist. You guys will be joining Davina and locked up in room 101. Please make your way there now. Now, of course, we're telling all the house guests in the main house that they're in room 101. But what they also don't know, and what our 3 nominees don't know, is that they, like Davina, will be able to go into the lab. But unlike Davina, who is still a house guest, these 3 nominees are now part of the lab, and they will be facing the public vote on Friday. That being said, this twist and nomination is still not over, as we have a huge other chunk to get down to. So, over in the lab, Big Brother calls all of the house guests to their living room. And once seated, we can now reveal Davina's big twist.
Oh, Balafoy. Oh.
Allison, of course, takes her sweet time getting here. But now I can reveal that, Davina, you will be the only house guest nominating today. But it will be a bit of a different vote, as instead of nominating the 3 people you dislike the most, you will be nominating the 3 people you like the most. Now please head to the diary room, which is at the top of the stairs right by the entrance.
Oh, Molo bide.
And as Davina enters the lab's diary room, I can confirm that she will be saving 3 of the lab's house guests. So, based on her relationship statuses and with the short amount of time, she is going to save Allison, Josie, and Luke A. So she's now going to go back downstairs and rejoin her house guest. But we're going to reveal another layer of this twist, okay? This twist just keeps continuing to get more complicated as we go along. So, Davina, you have nominated Luke A., Josie, and Allison. But what you didn't know is that these 3 house guests will be leaving the lab immediately and going into the main house where they will permanently stay as new house guests. And the 3 nominees from the main house will be taking their place here in the lab. So, to keep the lab still a secret from the main house, we are going to get all 3, Allison, Josie, and Luke, to come outside. And instead of them being evicted like they normally would, Hot Dogs here is going to surprise them and let them know that they are actually going to be brand new permanent house guests and able to enter the main house. Now, once there, they will all be gifted with 25 BigBucks to keep them, grounded and afloat, able to nominate, etc. So that's a pretty good little gift that they get. But they will also be immune from next week's nominations. So not only do they get a little bit of extra money, but they also get a bit of immunity. So let's see just how the house reacts to their 3 brand new house guests.
Oh, Chocha.
Ooh, Yamala.
Zorpal, Lalo Quarb,
Flowers.
Snoof. Oh.
Shimre Parla Dimp. Saya.
A bit of an awkward and cold entrance, but it was a huge surprise. But we got an even bigger one for our nominees as they leave room 101 and enter the all-white lab, where you guys will have to decide which one house guest, okay, only one of this lot, is going to rejoin the main house. Again, not including Davina, as she will go back into the house regardless. But now we have Tomas, Coolio, Kim Woodburn, Gina Rio, who is sadly breaking out right now, Perez Hilton, and our 3 house guests from the main house, Mikosi, Nikki, and Charlie. All of them face the public vote on Friday, and only one of them can enter the house. So which one are you going to save after that huge group? Are you going to save an OG house guest, or are you going to try to give one of the new guys a chance in the main house? Comment down below, go over to my Twitter and vote, and like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.